Well, it is unimaginable. The level of suffering in Gaza, the level of death and destruction have no parallel in everything I've witnessed since I am Secretary-General. Obviously, we all condemn the terror attacks made by Hamas, as well as the taking of hostages. That is an absolute violation of international humanitarian law. But the truth is that nothing justifies the collective punishment of the Palestinian people. And that is what we are witnessing in a dramatic way in Gaza. Accountability should be a must. But for that, we would need to have institutions able to exercise it and countries able to accept accountability in relation to what is done by their own citizens.
You mean Israel?
In this case, Israel, even if there are other aspects of accountability that are important. Hamas has also serious violations of international humanitarian law. But when one sees the situation of civilians and when one sees the situation of humanitarian workers, it is true that we have a massive violation from the Israeli side at the present moment. There is a lot of pressure for a ceasefire. There are negotiations taking place. They are endless. I'm still hopeful, but the testimony I have is that it will be very difficult to have an agreement. And so obviously the physical control of the situation on the ground is in the hands of Israel. As far as I understand, it was already said publicly that it is not his intention to ask for any meeting with me. And so, of course, the meeting will very probably not take place. We are always open to receive all the heads of state and government that come to the General Assembly. The question of a phone call or no phone call, a meeting or no meeting, what matters is what happens on the ground. What matters is the suffering of people. What matters is the lack of a political solution. What matters is the constant denial of the two-state solution and the undermining of that two-state solution by the different actions that are taking place on the ground, with grabbing of land, with evictions, with the new settlements being built, all illegally, and in the context of an occupation that now, according to the International Court of Justice's opinion, is in itself also illegal.
Do you think they will ever accept a UN monitoring mission in Gaza?
As I said, it doesn't seem likely. It's obviously that we are not having peace and security in the world, and it's obviously that it's not because of the UN as an institution that doesn't happen. It's because of member states. Security Council is not an abstract entity. It's an entity of 15 member states that vote or veto and that are accountable for the decisions that are taken. We have a problem, which is we have a Security Council, as we have the Bretton Woods institutions, as we have several other multilateral institutions in the world that today are outdated, are dysfunctional, and are unfair. And obviously that is the reason why it's so important to reform multilateral institutions, to adapt them to the realities of today, and that is exactly the objective of the Summit of the Future that will start next Sunday.